2, 1, go.
Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I come to you from nerdrotic.com. I am live on Facebook and in San Francisco, California. And I'm with my best bud down in Toluca Lake, California, Jon Reed. What is up, Jon?
Hey, how's it going, Gary? I think it's funny that we're live after the episode because the way that this happened this week, we could have been live any day since Tuesday when the episode leaked online. I think more people probably watched it earlier in the week than are watching it today. But it is fun to come here at 7:00 and talk about Game of Thrones. I'm excited to talk about spoils of war.
Yes, spoilers of war. Yeah, what an unfortunate name of an episode. And it's funny, I watched it on HBO Now, and they didn't have an episode name. And that's why I was texting you. I'm like, what is the episode name? Spoilers of War. Wow. That is so funny. Oh, my God. Yeah, so it was Tuesday, right? This is like freaking old news. Not that anybody would download or pirate, because that would be wrong. And we watched it on our legally subscribed HBO Now.
Yep.
And holy shit. And they must be super pissed that this that this leaked, man, because like this was the first, like, we're not going to bury the lead here. Dany got on a dragon and went to war, and not just that blinked down me now. It happened.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all right. So what we had was Lannisters on fire and Tarly's on fire, and it was fucking insane. Now I can see kind of where they don't have the budget for the direwolves, although at this point there's really no excuse for it. But some of those scenes, my favorite one was when she's burning up the supply line, and it had like a Apocalypse Now feel of it. We had this like wide angle, and it's just the dragon just burning up all the wagons. What I wasn't clear on, Jon, they did mention that some of the gold did make it, correct?
Yeah, they did. Look, this is an interesting episode to me because the first half is all Starks and the second half is all Lannister, and it's like we're going back to season 1, right? Except for like half the people are dead, and I just thought it was funny, like this. On this episode of RuPaul's Dragon Race, Bran and Jaime have to lip sync for their life, and Bran had to sashay away, right? Like this episode was very much like, let's dispatch of a couple more characters as we go forward on. Like, it's becoming a reality show, Game of Thrones, where who's going to die in the last scene of every episode, right? Like that's basically where we're at. So the gold may have survived, but who knows what characters will be surviving going forward.
Well, we didn't see any deaths. I mean, we're going to assume Jaime's not dead.
Braun's looking like he's not coming out of this one. Unless they pull a Walking Dead with Glenn and Bran all of a sudden hit under a garbage can at the bottom of the ocean.
At the end, I'm pretty sure that was Bran who saved Jaime.
Yeah, he saved Jaime, and then you see Bran like sinking down into the water, like it's like that pull away shot.
Was it like Bran or Jaime? I thought that was Jaime.
Oh, I thought that was Bran.
That was Jaime because he had all the armor on. Bran wears boiled leather, he was.
We saw Jaime, but it was from the view of Bran sinking. That's what I thought they were trying to do. Was like we're seeing in Bran's eyes as he fell down through the water. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Well, it definitely looked like Jaime falling down to me, but
interesting.
Neither of them are dead, I don't think. I mean, this is George R. R. Martin. We're going to use comic book logic here, and which is starting to change, by the way. But unless we see a body like lose limbs, get chopped up, autopsied, it's coming back, and even that's not going to stop it. Not even Game of Thrones,
right?
How fast Dany got there with the Dothraki. I mean, we're throwing that away. I mean, like the whole travel concept of the show is I guess that, what, let's address that right now. I hate to get negative so early in the episode. And I'm going to maybe let this one go eventually, but 2 years ago, there was talk at Comic-Con that Game of Thrones was going to go 10 seasons, no problem, maybe longer. They had everybody sign through 7, and then George R. R. Martin came out with his infamous letter at the beginning of 2016 saying he wasn't going to finish Winds of Winter, and it all changed within a month after that. That's when we got we're going to get shortened seasons. It's taken longer. Production's getting harder. Let's be real here. This translates to Dan and Dave want to protect their legacy, and they have remember, these are the guys who wrote X-Men Wolverine Origins and sewed Deadpool's mouth shut. Okay. And some of that stuff is starting to come through, though. They relied heavily on George R. R. Martin's dialogue, which is, I hope people will appreciate now, just second to none. It is like, and there's a couple of websites that actually are starting to point it out now, and it's starting to become a thing on the internet, which sucks. We don't want this to go, as much as I love Battlestar Galactica, it's how you finish a story.
Yeah, Lost.
And with the announcement of Confederate, and we're going to be working on another show, it's like, guys, you know what? Rein it in. Start plucking as much George R. R. Martin dialogue as you can. I wish it would have been, they could have done this. They could have done 10 episodes those last 2 seasons, which would have drawn it out enough to make the traveling feel more realistic, because now it's starting to feel, it is, let's be real, it's rushed.
Yeah, no, it's super rushed. I'm curious. I'll throw the scene at the beginning on the screen of Jaime finding the gold to follow back on what you were saying before. But it does feel rushed. I think I'm okay with it though, because here's what I wouldn't want to have happen. If you're familiar with the Harry Potter movies, we got to a situation with Harry Potter where they needed to expand the last book to be 2 movies, and the first half is literally just them on a road trip dealing with like emotional stuff, and then the second movie was just like a huge battle, right? And I feel like what Game of Thrones has done is said, like, okay, you've had 6 seasons of kind of exposition with big moments in there. You know what this world feels like when people are stripped down and on the road and trying to get from one place to another. And there's the Brothers Without Banners, and there's people like struggling in between these big cities that we're kind of landing in right now on the show, or in between these big battles. And they're kind of saying like, look, we've shown you that that's best done by George R. R. Martin, because that's the world that he inhabits in the books. For the most part, it's the political intrigue and just kind of the daily life of a lot of these crazy people. And what the show, I feel like, is doing is saying, like, look, we've given you a lot of that, and now we have to hit all the big beats as quickly as possible because we're out of time. And as long as they execute the big beats to me, and like the moments feel right that they're giving us, I don't know how critical I'm going to be of the stuff they're skipping over. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that there's a lot, if the reunion with the Starks had been really bad, or, that fun scene with Arya and Brienne, like that was a really cool thing to throw in there. And then we get this big battle at the end, and you get Jon talking to Dany in the caves, and you get Jon and Theon seeing each other for the first time. So it's like, as long as they keep giving us those little moments, in addition to these big battles, and everything kind of holds weight the way it needs to, I'm okay. I'm teetering though. I am getting a little bit skeptical that they're going to be delivering on those moments as much. I'm getting a little worried that some of the dialogue's a little meta and a little catchy, like a little too pop culture, like too self-referential almost. So that's where my worry is that if they start giving us stuff that isn't that high of quality, then I'll also start piling on about the stuff they're not giving us, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I blame Quentin Tarantino with making pop culture references just like a thing. It's good once in a while, but it's permeated comics right now. And it's just stop. It's definitely going to be, the whatever this decade's going to be called. It's going to be, that's one of the things that's going to be known for, kind of like bell bottoms for the 70s and pop culture references within pop culture all the time. And hopefully there'll be a day we get back to, just like a good linear storytelling. Although I love this, and that's what this has turned into. And I'm not passing a judgment. I'm just stating a fact.
I hear you.
Right,
because I'm right there with you. Like, I started going down that road mentally while watching this. Like, we saw Mira, Reed drag Bran. Like, we skipped over their whole journey from the Children of the Forest to the Wall. We skipped over Jon's journey from Winterfell to Dragonstone. We've skipped over a lot of travel on the show in the last 4. I mean, Arya is basically a teleporter at this point, and so. I feel like we've skipped over a lot of stuff. And so I started going down that road, and I decided that I'm not that's not a hill I'm willing to die on. Like, I don't really care what they're skipping as long as what they're giving me makes sense and is good. And I just guested on Rob Has a Podcast for Rob Has a Podcast and post show recaps. So check that out if you haven't. We basically cast a Survivor season with Game of Thrones characters, and we kind of made fun of the fact that they are going a little bit pop culture-y with Ed Sheeran showing up on the show, and we decided to have some fun with that in the podcast.
That was funny.
Funny. So anyway, check that out. But, there is some fun to be had for us people who are talking about Game of Thrones. It's for when you're watching Game of Thrones that sometimes that stuff is a little off-putting. But I think that this episode was pretty good. Like, I think that aside from
it's definitely a good episode, but it has to be addressed. And by the way, for those of you who don't know who Rob Has a Podcast, he's a Survivor guy, right? This is he does podcasts. He's actually a contestant on Survivor, a former contestant on Survivor. He does a podcast. He's pretty big out there amongst that community. Dude, they're doing a Rob Has a Podcast convention in
RapCon in Utah. Yeah.
RobCon, is that what it's called?
It's RapCon. It's RapCon, and it's during the weekend of my wedding, or else I was
going to say, are you going to go? I bet you can't.
Dude,
your wedding is so poorly planned during RapCon and during the finale of Game of Thrones. What the hell?
Yeah.
By the way,
wondering why that weekend was open, and now I'm starting to understand a little bit more why it was available.
For those of you missing the prettiest person on this podcast who has not been on in quite a while because she's been very busy doing this side thing, is my wife Melissa Wagner. Will be joining us for the rest of the way. Are you back next week or?
Oh, I mean, I'll be here we'll talk about it, but even if I'm here, I'd love to have Melissa join us.
I want to pin you down right now. Let's go. Come on. Okay,
I plan on being here all the way up until the finale, but we'll see.
Back to the show. Let's talk a little bit more about that battle. Other than it looked amazing, there was some mirroring going on. They mirrored Jon's scene in the Battle of the Bastards with the uncut scene, and I loved how they showed this. We're waiting for Bran to be this like badass fighter, but Bran's a scrapper from the streets, and that's pretty much how you fight. Your head's on a swivel, and you grab a sword out of a dead guy, and you basically run from most of the things you can, and that's how you fucking survive. That's a true badass. So that was awesome. And then when they were fighting, there was a couple scenes with Jaime and with Bran where the dragon just flew over, and it's like, and that brought right before, that picture right there, the Drogon flies over. It was so fucking rad, dude. I mean, a lot of this is taken from some movies we've seen, but the director of this episode, I think it was, I don't even check who the director was, which I shouldn't even bring it up without knowing, did a great fucking job. And I will know my names. What sucks is this is, we only get to watch these once before our recaps, which sucks. I like to take notes and stuff like that. And I wasn't able to do that, but the effects look great. The dragon didn't look lame to me at any point in time. And this is daylight. This wasn't, shadowy. We did get to see a little bit over the Battle of Marine, but I mean, this was full on, looked like a movie.
They've clearly saved up their horse budget for dragons later on. Like, there were a few seasons where I was like, they need more horse. No one has a horse anymore, but I can see where the horse budget went. It's looking pretty damn good now.
Well, that's probably the biggest part of their budget. Is the horse budget, but there was a shitload of horses in this one, and seeing Dothraki versus Lannisters and Tarly's fighting, and holy fucking shit. And then, Tyrion pops up in the battle and he gets a little smack from the Dothraki. He's like, your family doesn't fight good. And then we get to see the realism of Tyrion watching his house die. I mean, that was, amidst all this craziness, you had the like, oh fuck, and I'm glad they're bringing, something beyond Tyrion just being a talking dude into this season. There's some conflict. And I think
do you think that if Tyrion could have gotten to save Jaime, he would have, or do you think that he views that relationship as completely just toast at this point?
No, I think he would have tried to save him if it was at all possible. I mean, the fact that he was just telling him to run, and that was a kind of reunion we got. It's the first time he sees Jaime since he escaped and Jaime let him out, and that scene where Jaime's facing down Daenerys and, he's thinking about it. And we get to finally see, we've seen Jaime fight a little bit, but we've never seen him in battle. We've never seen the warrior Jaime, this vaunted warrior that everybody talks about. And we finally saw it. Like the dude picked up a spear and was going to take on a dragon by himself with one freaking hand. And he was going for Dany, which was a smart move. And Dany was stupid for landing there and turning her back on the battle. And that shows her inexperience. And another thing I want to bring up is she needs to wear fucking armor. Okay. A nice dress and everything. And I think they did that to show her inexperience, but definitely if she's going against the Night King, either this season or next season, armor. Okay.
Do you think she's going to get like a legendary set of armor, RPG style? Like she'll level up and find like the Mother of Dragon armor set and don it for like the last battle? Like that would be so cool.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. For one, I mean, after this battle, she's going to be okay. I got a couple big arrows shot at me and a bunch of little ones. Armor guys. In the book, there is Euron's Valyrian steel armor. Spoiler warning, it's in a chapter that's out there called The Forsaken. If you haven't read it, it's a sample chapter from Winds of Winter. I suggest you read it. It's one of the greatest chapters George R.R. Martin's ever written, and I'm not kidding. It is dark. It is the darkest one he's ever written too. It is fucking dark. But there is the mention of Euron having a Valyrian steel suit of armor. So could I see Daenerys in that at some point? Yes, because I mean I think they even mention in the chapter that it's more valuable than most countries. That's something she's got to be donning at some point.
So my other, we last week we had a little bit of fun talking about, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, but anyway, it was whenever they showed Qyburn coming up with the giant crossbow to kill the dragon, and we were both saying like, yeah, this isn't his best invent. Like, why this probably existed before? Like, this isn't gonna do much unless you get it like right through the eye socket, and good fucking luck with a dragon coming at you. And that's basically what ended up happening in this. I loved seeing like Bran, like Star Wars style, like Chewie and Luke like in the Millennium Falcon trying to take out TIE fighters, and he's like got the giant crossbow like going for the dragons, and I like enjoyed that. But come on, like he was never gonna get the job done. Just Bran against a dragon with like a giant crossbow. I don't know. It was cool, but ineffective.
Yeah, I think that whole thing was based on hitting it in the skull. Which good luck with that shot.
Yeah.
It's not like Lord of the Rings where the arrow, I believe, is like coated with something, or it has a certain metal that can kill the dragon.
Adamantium arrows.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the motherfucker can load. I'm supposed to not be cussing. I'm gonna really stop that. Sorry.
It was my fault.
He loaded that thing so fast. And remember, this is the guy who shot that arrow at the Battle of the Blackwater too, and killed thousands of men.
Yep.
In a horrible flaming death. So, Bran's a badass, but this was like one of the first, not the first time, but this is, we had two characters taking on another character, and we liked all three of them.
Yes.
And I was kind of expecting to get a lot more of that. And again, we've seen that in Battle of the Blackwater, but I was hoping, and I know this is going to be the case in the books. We're going to have people like liking each other, taking on each other, and one killing the other one, and we're still going to have to like that person. And that's why he set this whole thing up. And the more I see this, John, the book is going to be so different. It already is, but this is nothing. This is at this point, it's almost fan service fiction.
Oh yeah,
compared to how this book is going to end. Even George R. R. Martin came out and said recently that when you are brought back from the dead, you're essentially a white. Your heart doesn't beat. So Jon's heart in the book, if he gets resurrected, because he's dead, if he gets resurrected the way...
Spoilers, by the way. Spoilers of war. Spoilers of war.
Spoilers. This was in an interview from a couple weeks ago. They asked him about, Beric Dondarrion, and they asked him if his... or was it Jon? I don't know. But he said they're all essentially whites. Okay. Beric Dondarrion is a white for for R'hllor, and his heart doesn't beat. So he doesn't have digestion, and neither does Lady Stoneheart. If you don't know who Lady Stoneheart is, look her up. It's one of the biggest disappointments from the series. Save the Sand Snakes is Lady Stoneheart not being in it.
Yeah, I would trade Lady Stoneheart for the Sand Snakes any day of the week.
That's a whole podcast.
I love that one Sand Snake. She's awesome.
That one that you can't name?
Yep.
That one. Yeah, that one. No. It sucks that they got the Red Viper so right and the Sand Snake so wrong. That's another podcast. You know what? When we wrap up everything, when the series is over, you and I will do a what they should have put in, what they should have put out podcast, and we'll let loose on that one. So
yeah.
At the end of 2019, because it's good after this season. By the way, it's going to be like a year and a half. Okay, so it's not going to come out probably till next Christmas, which kind of sucks. But
so what else did you like? I don't want to move on from the battle quite yet, because I think we're maybe underselling just how badass it was to see a Lannister army, which is basically the army of the kingdom at this point, going against the Dothraki and dragons. And like you've said it now, I'm going to say it now. Like the gravity of that moment is like, we had Battle of the Bastards, we had Blackwater, we had all these really great battle scenes in this show, and this one, seeing the Dany riding her dragon just demolishing Lannisters was so cool. Like it was done brilliantly. Like you said, the dragon looked amazing, but also just that tracking shot of Bran going through the battle was amazing. Like you said, we got to see what he is, like why he's such a badass finally. But also we got to see what it's like to see someone move through a battle in that way. Like we had seen that with Jon when he had the bodies piling, like right before he had all the bodies piling on top of him in Battle of the Bastard, but that was such a different feel to it, right? Like this one was much more like him kind of weaving through this thing, which I don't know, I just thought was brilliantly done, and it's obviously harkening back to Battle of the Bastards, but I think this one was it made my heart beat a lot less, but it was effective in bringing us right into the middle of this battle. So I don't know, I just, before we move on, which I know we have to do, I just wanted to say, like, I think this battle probably ranks up there with the great battles of the show.
Absolutely. It's in the top. Okay, the best battle is still Hardhome. Okay, that was just unbelievable. I would say this might top Battle of the Bastards because like Battle of the Bastards it's tied with it. It was just so brutal, and also okay, one little nitpick. Don't hate me for this, people. The piling up for the bodies was radical. It looked like a multi-death corporations. If you're familiar with some old 80s punk MCD, they had piles of skulls and shit. It looked like a cover of one of those albums. Artistically, I totally understand why they did it, but there's no way fucking possible you can get piles of bodies that. But I also know there's no way possible dragons can fly around the sky. So again, I will let it go. This one was way more real, and the fact that it was a rout. They did pretty good in the beginning, but this was the end of Cersei just kicking ass. Okay, it's over because they have a nuclear bomb and you have a pistol. So it's fucking over. And Dany made her biggest mistake and survived. And now Jamie's going to go back. If he survives this, Jamie's going to be going back going, you need to bend the knee. Knee, bend now. Fuck the gold, fuck the Iron Bank, and fuck everything and your power. Bend the knee because, it's not worth frying for. And I watched a bunch of my men, our family's men, burn alive for you. And the survivors from this are going to, there's probably half of them are going to be deserters. And seeing the Lannister army now, they weren't in full strength. Okay. They were split up, and, Tarly was talking about, if we get ambushed from the rear, which is they waited until they were split up and ambushed them from the rear. And that was the first smart move. And that was a Dany move, by the way.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about, is Tyrion good at this? Right? Like we've seen him kind of screw up a couple times now. We know he has like the moral center to make the right choices. Like he's not going to lead her down a road that makes her look bad, right? But he does maybe overcompensate in that direction and lead her into dangerous tactical missteps, right? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it was Tyrion that talked her. They should have showed this, by the way, and they didn't. Because when she was on Dragonstone, she's like, I'm going to fucking King's Landing. I'm going to King's fucking Landing. So I think it was Tyrion who came back. Sorry, that was my phone. Who came back and said, why don't you hit the supply line? They didn't say whose idea that was, so they left it ambiguous. So I'm thinking it was Tyrion's, but if it was Dany, she was fucking smart. And she's right about this. What she needs is a general. Okay. And, she's got one on the way. He just got healed with grayscale. And I think we talked about that as far as military strategy, dude, he's the shit.
Yeah.
He's the one who came up with the unsolid idea. This is, and he's fought wars, and he's a northerner, and he's a true, I love Jorah. He's a bad ass.
Yep.
So I can't wait for him to get back to her and help her out. But sorry. I'll give this to Dany. It was a Dany move, and it was
this was a Dany move. And Tyrion, like my bigger thing is just like Tyrion hasn't been what I've wanted of him. Like I thought Tyrion was going to be this tactical genius, and instead he's getting beat by Cersei. I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird. I don't know why. I hope the books don't go this direction. I don't know if you want to save this for our prediction segment later, like where we talk about if the books are going to mirror what's happening in the show or not. But do you think Tyrion's going to be this inept at managing armies in the books, or do you think he's even going to have that chance?
Well, I think it's clearly part of the storyline now. So I think it's him screwing up, being insecure, and he's going to have a rallying point later. They're going to allow him to redeem himself. What Tyrion was really good at, and I think we talked about it last podcast, was being the hand in peacetime. He is a good man of the people. But that's what he is. I don't know how good of a war strategist. Well, you know what? Blackwater was his.
Yeah, Blackwater, but that was kind of an accident. Like that was an in the moment kind of. I don't know. I feel like he got lucky.
What the show took away from that the book did was it was wildfire and something else. And it was a big chain that he had made. And that was part of that whole, the song Ed Sheeran was singing in the forest was a song a singer had written about Tyrion and a little necklace that he gave Shay of the hand. And also it was also told the story of the chain of Blackwater Bay that he pulled up that trapped the boats in there, and then they did the wildfire so the boats couldn't get away. It was actually worse in the books. So, and a really funny story. I wish they would have put this. See, this they could have put in the book is that singer knew the story. So, Tyrion had to have him killed, and Bran killed him and put him in a bowl of brown. He ended up being Singer Stew. Yeah, which rather
have Singer Stew or Frey pies.
You know, yeah, George R. R. Martin does cook a lot of people in the food. Yeah.
That's what he does.
A lot of people get raped and a lot of people get eaten. Yeah, like I said, the man watched his turtles for way too long by himself.
Do you want to move on to Winterfell?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So we have a Stark reunion. I'm trying to figure out the director of this episode, but I'm failing miserably. So never mind.
Yeah, we had another Stark reunion. I mean, like you said, this is like fan fiction essentially at this point. Like, I do not think we have a scene in the book of Arya pushing Bran in a Professor X wheelchair with Sansa trailing behind out of the weirwood. Like, I don't necessarily see that sort of stuff happening. But what do you think? Do you think that this is possible?
I guess so. I thought it was a really cool scene, and it's kind of funny that 2 of those 3 are actually going to be in X-Men products. Yeah. So I think that was a definite shout out. And yeah, it was the Bran stuff. Yeah, it's anticlimactic, but it makes sense. I also don't think Bran is going to be like this in the books, and we'll talk about it later. But it makes sense in the sense of this storytelling that he is not Bran anymore. Bran is dead.
Right.
And he's now by the end of the series, I think that might change. But it's such a tragic ending for him, really.
Yeah. I love that he knows who Arya is, and the moment she realizes that he knows who she is so great. Like, he's basically like, hey, Littlefinger gave me this knife this dagger that started this whole fucking war. Here, Arya, go kill everyone that's left on your list with it. Like, it was so great. And, like I said, we're not going to get this in the books.
That's pretty, that man, it was talking.
Cool. It was very cool.
That was Bran still being Bran. You know what I mean? I think that's funny, because that's what I actually told that to Melissa when we were watching it, was there's still a piece of Bran in there. By handing her that knife, definitely. I'm totally like, he's like, yeah, go kill the rest of our enemies, but I can't really articulate that right now because I've got the entire world downloading in my brain still. The whole chaos is a ladder moment when he was talking to Littlefinger was rad.
Yep.
Littlefinger being the biggest disappointment so far this season. It's just, they don't know how to write him right now.
What is he doing? Like, I actually loved the writing of this section because you had Arya and Sansa reconnecting, and they never really got along, but they are genuinely happy to be back together. Arya is a badass, and she's talking about her list, but she passes it off as a joke. And then you get Bran referencing that list because he knows about it because he's the three-eyed raven. And then you get Sansa realizing, oh shit, Arya wasn't kidding. And then it leads into the whole fight between Arya and Brienne, where Sansa sees that she's been getting all of this knowledge politically, but she's kind of envious that her sister is actually capable of fighting in this world and protecting herself and protecting other people and, being an assassin. Like, the moment you see Sansa see that Arya has these skills that maybe Sansa wished she had when she was dealing with Ramsay is just kind of a poetic moment. So I felt like the writing of this was actually really great, except for the fact that Littlefinger is supposed to be like the mastermind of the whole. He's the Moriarty of this story so far, or at least he was early on, and he's like hanging out. Like, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, the Littlefinger from the book would be, okay, I'm going back to the Eyrie now. If you need me, call me. You're in good hands here. Yeah, this whole hanging out thing makes no sense. Everybody sees what's coming. And
I messaged you and I said, is Sansa Littlefinger's daughter? Like, is that why he's hanging out? She looks so different than the rest of the Starks. Like, why else would he be just chilling? Like, like, maybe he's in love with her, but maybe he's also like being paternal in some way. So there's something weird there to me. Maybe it's the lust thing that everyone thinks it is, but I think maybe there's something else.
I think it's. I hope I'm wrong on this one. I think it's the lust thing. I just think it's kind of poor writing. I think they've written themselves in a corner with Littlefinger, and they've. He would never put himself in this situation, just like he would never not know about Ramsay. I mean, those are just two things I have a huge problem with, and I think if the showrunners could have him back, they could have him back. It's almost time to just off him already. I mean, it's like he's just getting in the way of your storytelling, and more people. I'm not the only one saying this. There's going to be a lot of people having problems with Littlefinger's plot because this guy started this whole fucking thing. Him and a little bit of Varys, but it was mostly him. Now, what would be a great fucking twist? and I have no I have no speculation on this, that he and Varys have been like kind of working together the whole fucking time, and they both end up fucking their people over, and then maybe one of them gets caught and one of them doesn't. I don't know. That would be an awesome fucking twist. Is it going to happen? Probably not. You know, it's probably going to happen just the way it looks like it's going to happen, which is a tad bit disappointing. Yes, we're going to get the justice, but they're going to if they draw this out till the end of the season, it's going to be like, just kill him already. I mean, it's now maybe they're trying to do, let's be scared for Littlefinger thing. Like, we're actually worried for him, because that's the first thing I thought of when he was left alone with Sansa and Jon left. I'm like, oh, you're in danger, buddy. Jon would actually be the only thing keeping you from getting your throat cut or getting your head cut off, and he's gone. So maybe it's a turning of the table, and maybe the writers maybe there's some people who hate Littlefinger enough to enjoy watching him squirm. I'm not one of them. I want him to go out the way he deserves to go out. But I mean, this is, he wins things with his mind. He is not a warrior. He can't fight.
That's what I was going to say. I want to see him defeated tactically, not brutally, right? Like, you want Ramsay to be like flayed and thrown like onto a dragon's back and dragged around the Seven Kingdoms for everyone to see, right? But with Littlefinger, you want to see somebody best him with their brain, and you want that person to be Sansa or Jon or somebody, you want Varys, right? You want it to be somebody that has some connection to him. So I don't know if they're just biding time, but it seems weird to kind of move your chess pieces into place and then just leave this really important one out in the center of the board. I don't quite understand why it just doesn't make sense that he'd be hanging out at Winterfell when he's got other stuff he could be doing. Yeah. Like, where's his son? Where's what's his name? The little kid, the little errand boy.
Robin.
Yeah, where's Rob? Where's Sweet Robin? Sweet
Robin is down at the Eyrie, where Littlefinger should be right now.
Yeah, who's looking after Sweet Robin? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, he's probably throwing people. He's got Sir Raymore Royce is not there to watch him either, so he's probably just pitching people down and making them fly. That would be so funny if they go back to him and he's got like servants like chucking people down the
right.
What? Oh, I'm just making people fly. That's all. Is
the Blackfish still alive?
No, they killed him last season off screen.
They killed him off screen? That's
killed
weird.
Him off screen.
I never trust it when they get killed off screen.
I don't either, but a Blackfish, and then there's oh God, I'm blanking on his fucking name. Oh my God, the Blackfish's nephew, Catelyn's brother, who's the Lord of the Riverlands.
Oh yeah,
getting old, and God damn it, and he's played by the Outlander guy, and. This is terrible. Oh, sorry, folks. I'm getting old. Where in the hell is he? He was prisoner at the Freys, and then Arya didn't let him go, or did she let him go?
Right.
Or, what happened to him? Is he dead? I'm sure he'll come back next season. I think they're going to depopulate a little bit this season, and then you're going to see some callbacks next season. You'll just see some people come back that have been gone for a couple episodes or a couple of seasons to come back and just get killed. Like you said last podcast, to just be part of the body count. So,
right. Let's talk about the cave. Let's talk about the cave drawings and the children of, I actually thought this was maybe the most interesting part of this episode. We expect big battles. We've come to expect Stark reunions lately. But this whole idea that the children of men worked with man to take on the White Walkers in the past, and there are all these cave drawings in Dragonstone where the dragon glass can be made into weapons, and that's how we got a lot more of Jon Snow flirting with Dany, and we even got Theon coming into this. What did you think about that whole thing?
I was thinking, are we going to get more Jon Snow cave sex? But
he does like his cave
There you go. We should have never left that cave. I thought it was rad to show just the whole scene. For one, we're getting used to seeing these two together in scenes now, and they're getting to know each other. And they are taking their time with this one, which is great.
Yes.
And seeing the cave paintings make the others look like the others from the book was cool. And it just, I love that stuff in real life. I love ancient cave paintings and ancient mysteries and stuff. So that's, I thought the music for that scene was great. And I know you hate those beaches, but those beaches are fucking beautiful. They're in Spain, by the way. They shot in Spain. By the way, Edmure Tully.
Yeah, Edmure.
Where is Edmure? Where the fuck is Edmure? I actually love that scene. What would Edmure do? The wrong thing. Edmure would do the wrong thing.
Run away, have sex with the Frey,
So I'm sure they're going to bring him back. But that scene was cool, and it's chipping away at, again, even though Dany does have dragons and magic, it's hard to believe that there's ice zombies coming to kill you all, especially Tyrion put it best. Like, it's too big of a problem for her. And plus, she has waited all her life. Like, imagine waiting all your life to buy a house, and then you find out there's a zombie or it's haunted or something like that. And you're like, I don't want to fucking hear that. I waited my whole life to buy this house, and it's haunted. Shit.
That's actually the question. Do you think that she's going to buy her house and then deal with zombies, or do you think she's going to deal with zombies and then buy, property values aren't going to be great if the zombies are in the neighborhood?
She is going to you get the house first, and then you call the Ghostbusters or whatever. That's what her mindset is now. God, I'm rewriting the story in my head. I'm almost thinking that it would have been better, just to get back on the Sansa thing real quick, that if you wanted to have some good Sansa intrigue, is you find a way to have her take on Cersei face to face. Like, there's some truce. All the boys and Bran and the warriors are up doing, getting the whites and dealing with that and rallying armies and dealing with Euron and shit like that. And you have the two ladies in King's Landing just doing a straight up, Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
Fucking just lots of tension between those two and just trying to outthink each other.
Basically, you replace Marjorie with Sansa and rewind a couple seasons.
Which we could get next season a little bit. I would love that very much.
Now that there are teleportation devices, we can have a lot of stuff.
Yeah. We also, you flashed that picture up there. We had another reunion. We had speaking of restraints, we had Jon Snow seeing Theon, and I don't know if Jon knows. I don't know how many people know what happened to Theon. I'm pretty sure Sansa knows what happened to Theon, and maybe that's why Jon took it a little easy on him. Besides the whole, like, you saved my sister, I think, Sansa might have mentioned that, like, he has been through hell, and I remember reading the books and Theon and you get in Theon's head, and when he takes over Winterfell, I'm just like, no. And there were hard chapters to read. Because
he's fighting against his own loyalty. He views Jon particularly, right, as a brother, like as a close brother, or was it Robb? Anyway, one of them.
No, Robb Jon was a bastard to him.
Yeah.
But Robb was his brother. He looked up to Robb, and he had so much respect for Ned Stark, but he had this inner conflict the whole time of, like, these fuckers are keeping me hostage, but god damn, they're better to me than my own family. And that's the whole thing with Theon's, like, the most tragic tale. And that's why it would be almost rad if he was Azor Ahai, if he was the one who just goes out in a blaze of glory. I don't know how you redeem him at this point. I think they're just going to give him the go saving Yara thing, maybe. But I'd like to see him be in the battle in the end, because Theon used to be able to fight like he was a badass. He was trained with Robb. So Roderick trained him. He was badass. So I don't know. I root for Theon all the time. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I love and I'm happy that he was able to redeem himself so far to some degree. I can't wait for that moment where he can overcome. Like, I think that Dan's one of the characters we are going to get what we want from him, and he is going to have, like, a pure moment of bravery. The kind of heroic moment that he deserves after going through everything that he's gone through. I'm hoping we get that, and I think we will. I'll be disappointed if we don't. But yeah, seeing this reunion was interesting, and to know that Theon is, he's one of the few left for Dany. Like, he is Dany's council halved, right? Like, we lost the Queen of Thorns, we lost Yara, we lost Illyria Sand, and basically Jorah is going to come back, and she's going to have Theon, and I think it's his time to step up into that leadership role. But he's looking a little pathetic these days.
Yeah. You can have Jorah, Theon.
What did you think of the Arya Brienne fight scene?
Oh, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was done with the level. I think Arya would definitely take her on. I don't know if Brienne would actually fight back from the books, but I think the show one definitely would. And I loved how it ended, where Brienne finally had enough and like, okay, I'm going to use my raw power. Yep. But it also showed that Arya she's that's another thing Littlefinger's got to deal with, is he's dealing with 3 superheroes at this point.
Yeah,
you got a street level
Professor X, Wolverine.
You got a street level tactical superhero with Sansa, and I mean street level, like mind. Daredevil. As much as he has that power, he uses his mind. We've got Wolverine and we got Professor X. Mm-hmm. He's fucked. He's truly fucked. And the minute Bran handed over that knife, you know where that knife's going. We all know where that knife's going. Okay. I mean, just it's better to do it now than later, Yeah. But there's only 3 episodes left, guys.
Is Littlefinger on Arya's in part of Arya's prayer? She's in the books, isn't she? Isn't he?
He is not.
Oh, he's not. Okay.
He's not. I'm sure he would be.
Well, it's a fluid prayer, right?
It's a fluid prayer, but it's pretty solid in the books. It's very fluid in the show. Like, there's nobody left.
Cersei.
There's still plenty of people left
in
the books, and the mountain is one. Now who gets the mountain? Who gets Cersei? Who gets the kill on Cersei? That is a podcast for another. That's an entire podcast, probably, right there.
That would be fun.
Cersei. Yeah, I wonder how this plays out for her. I really do.
Who do you think deserves it the most? Who, if you could pick one person to get the kill shot on Cersei, who's the most gratifying for you? I think for me, it's Jaime. I think Jaime would be really satisfying to see Jaime kill Cersei.
I think that's who's gonna kill her. I think if Sansa got a chance to kill her,
Sansa would be good.
That would be good.
And Arya would be good too.
Yeah,
Dany, Jon Snow. There's a lot of options. I think, but I think Jaime would.
I mean, she mentally abused the fuck out of like a little girl. I mean, just so fucked up. And a little girl who trusted her, was stupid enough to trust her. Remember, Eddard. It's Sansa's fault that Eddard got beheaded. It was pretty much Sansa.
Benetted. He was benetted.
Benetted. But she was also a girl. She was young, and I definitely think that or fucking Tyrion. But Tyrion got his. When Tyrion killed Pops, that's Pops had it coming, man. I hate to say it, especially sleeping with that was the final nail in the coffin. And that's all it was for.
That was one of my favorite moments in the books.
Yeah, if people ever wonder like why Tyrion killed him, it was Shay. That's it. Yeah. That's all. It wasn't any abuse or anything beyond that. It was Shay. So, because he is a fool for love.
Let's do our predictions a little bit about what. So, Gary, you are somebody who has read these books many times. You're pretty up to speed on this. You may blank on Ed Mears here and there, but you know the source material. So we're going to use that brain and try to predict what of the show is actually going to happen relatively closely to how it happens as it does on the show in the books, in the upcoming books. So let's start with the beginning of the episode. Do you think that Littlefinger is going to hang out at Winterfell and give Bran the dagger that kind of set all of this stuff into motion?
give Brad the cat's paw dagger. I don't know. I don't think it'll be Littlefinger who gives it to him. It is interesting that they brought it up. It is interesting that Bran brought up the fact that, do you know where this dagger came from? Because now I never really thought about it, and they better follow up on that. But of course they're gonna, because they mentioned it. So I want to know where the dagger came from. No,
So
I don't think
no.
it's definitely a no. And I think it may. Let's preface this by, I think George R. R. Martin is going to go out and change some shit. I think he's going to see how it plays out in the show, and change some stuff for sure.
That said, do you think we are going to get the trifecta of Starks reunited at Winterfell at this early in the series?
I don't think they will ever fully reunite.
Okay.
Okay.
I probably
I don't think Arya will make it back, and I don't think Bran will make it back.
Yeah. So Sansa and Jon are going to be the last living Starks at Winterfell.
Yeah. Bran might communicate with Jon at some point, but I think Bran is going to stay north of the Wall.
Do you think that Arya will ever duel Brienne in the books? It's a tough one, right? Because we had all the Hound stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think they will.
I can't wait to read that chapter.
I think there will be some stakes. I don't think it'll be some little play fight. I think it'll be a fight.
Okay. Do you think that the cave drawings are going to be under Dragonstone in the books, or are they already? Do we know anything about that? I think that was a clever way for the show to.
Yes, I think that, I don't know if it'll be cave drawings, but there is drawings on rocks. There is. That is definitely mentioned in the World of Ice and Fire.
And then finally,
yes.
Do you think that the battle that there will be a battle that goes down? Do you think the end of this episode is something that happens in the books?
Yes, I mean, in some form or another, Dany will be frying Lannisters with a dragon. Yes,
and
absolutely.
A Dothraki army. Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to see something of this nature. Yes, I don't necessarily think it's going to happen where it happened in the show, but I think it's going to happen.
The Dothraki army is definitely coming with her. They've set that up for at the end of the world wins a winner. There's something set up. I don't know how she gets them to rally around her. It's not going to be her burning all the men alive in a hut.
So, spoilers of War Alert. This is a book spoiler. So we're separated in the books, right? We've got young Griff landing. So I feel like there's so much in play. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as what we got from the show this week. But I think we'll get. I think that imagery of two large armies clashing with Dothraki on one side and dragons on one side, and like Jaime Lannister with somebody on the other side will happen. I believe that'll happen as well. I can't wait to read that too. I think it'll be an exciting couple of chapters. It'll probably take place over the course of like half of a book, because we'll only get different perspectives of it interspersed or something. Well, it'll be fun.
Speaking to that, I was thinking earlier when we were talking about not showing the traveling and stuff. So if the Jon and Dany Jon traveling down to Dragonstone scene happened in a regular 10-episode series, say that happens in season 5, or say there was going to be 10 seasons or not, it would have taken all season for Jon to get down to Dragonstone. It would have ended with him meeting her. And we've gotten episodes of him and Davos getting to know each other on the boat and telling stories. And that's actually where some of the best storytelling in the books is guys in wheelhouses or on carts or on horseback telling stories, because of much of what Game of Thrones is about in the present. It's about what happened before and the history of the world and how this is like a really cyclical place. And George R. R. Martin really is good at moving a story forward with Davos telling a story or Septon telling a story about the broken man. You get the Broken Man speech is it sucks we didn't get it in its full glory. I wish that would have been Emmy-winning shit if they would have had Ian McShane just give the Broken Man speech, word for word, 5 minutes. I don't care. It takes 5 minutes. It's stuff like that. Am I glad most of that is gone? Yes. I know it's a long way of saying it, but I'm glad a lot of the boat, for TV. I know that's why Dennis got out of the show. Is he said it was too prodding, which is funny because we're actually criticizing the show for what most
plotting enough.
For that's never been my criticism of the show, by the way.
So me neither. I like the pace and the intrigue that we get from slowing it down a bit. But wouldn't it be funny if we got that battle from the perspective of that guy we met, who it was his first fight, that Jamie and Bronn talked to at the very beginning of the scene? That would be hilarious. Like if he turned out to be the point of view character for this whole battle.
That would be genius. Oh my God. Dickon? You mean Rickon? You mean
Dickon?
Drickon?
Dickon. Unfortunately named Dickon. Yep.
Dickon,
So please like us on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/nerdrotic podcast. It's right here. Pause it. Go there. Like us. You'll get all of these live videos that we do through Be Live. We're testing this out right now. We will also have live videos on our YouTube channel at a certain point. We're going to pick and choose which ones we think are most effective. So we may bring this back to YouTube at some point. But for now, Facebook is where we're doing the live shows, and then we'll upload it to youtube.com/user/Suture Watchtower, or you can just search for the Nerdrotic channel on YouTube. Please subscribe, leave comments. We like to interact with you guys. We like to hear your questions. We might even invite you on a podcast if we have a good one. So let us know what you guys like, what you don't. Also, please subscribe to us on iTunes. You just search Nerdrotic in the iTunes podcast app. Subscribe there. Leave us a review. It helps us a lot. Gary has been doing a lot of hard work behind the scenes. He's re-upping us with Podomatic and a lot of other services, so we may show up in a bunch of places. So keep an eye out for all that. Give us likes, give us comments. We love it. And follow me on Twitter. I am at Jon Reed 16, JONREED 16. There's no H in my John, just like Jon Snow. And you can also follow our official Twitter feed, which Gary manages, at Nerdrotics. That's Nerdrotic with an S. It's right there on the screen as well, which is why we like Be Live. We can do that kind of stuff. Follow us on Instagram as well. We're Nerdrotic on Instagram. So that's my bumbling way of getting all of the housekeeping out there before we sign off for the day.
Yeah, a couple things I wanted to mention. We are back on Podomatics, podomatic.com/nerdrotic. It is podmachine.com/nerdrotic and soundcloud.com/nerdrotic. So alternatives to iTunes. Of course, there's the iTunes. In the coming weeks, we will be opening Shop Nerdrotic. That will be on our website. We will be selling collectibles, lots of fun stuff to help fund this venture that is getting more expensive as time goes on.
Yeah, exactly.
We to get stuff like Be Live and new cameras and get Chris a mic, we need to, and we're not ready for the Patreon thing.
We'll get there though.
We'll get there. I'm not ruling it out, but right now we'll give you something. We give you something, you give us money. And you get content too, so it's rad. And thank you for all those YouTube subscribers, by the way. We love you all. Thanks. We were up to 335, and we had, when we started this, we had 30. So it wasn't long ago. So that's really cool. That's it, Jon.
I wanted to also announce that obviously we've got a lot of new shows coming up in the fall, but we're also starting.
Thanks, Deborah.
Thanks, Deborah. We're also starting. We're going to start doing comic book reviews on the Facebook page. So I'm going to be doing mine live on the Facebook page through Be Live, and then we'll throw them up on YouTube and into the podcast app. But there'll be little 10-minute reviews of either ongoing series, one-shots, or older series. So keep a lookout for our comic book reviews. It's something we're starting up, and if you like them, we'll do as many as we can. So,
and apologies, we went a little long. I wanted to read your comments on YouTube. We'll do that next episode. We'll read the last couple of episodes' comments. We had some good ones. But we ran out of time tonight, so sorry. May the small folks sing songs of your greatness.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Bye, everybody. Have a good one, and come back next week.